Hi, good morning. Welcome. Today is day 40 of the reading of the Haile Selassie version of the Holy Bible, a renewed King James version. And the reason why we have to emphasize that it's a renewed King James version is because the King James version, the Protestant version of the Bible, separate from the Catholic version of the Bible, is of the Western theological tradition. The King Haile Selassie version of the Holy Bible is not solely based on Western theology, and so because King Haile Selassie was Emperor of Ethiopia, and Ethiopia was perhaps the first Christian state. They certainly was a Jewish state through the Queen Makeda converted to Judaism after her meeting with King Solomon. And so those folks ain't never been colonized. There was some stuff going on there with the Derg around in the 1920s and stuff like that, but nonetheless, they weren't colonized. So anyways, we're going to continue with Genesis chapter 7. Right now, I'm going to sing One Drop by Bob Marley for all those who care to sing along. Ooh, whoa, 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 whoa. Feel it in a one drop, and you still find time to rock. You're making a one stop, a generation gap, so feel the drum beat as a beat within, playing a rhythm, resisting the system. Ooh-wee. And I know just never let us down when we're right from wrong. 'Cause I know just never let us down. Oh no, 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 no. They made their world so hard. Every day people are dying. They made their world so hard. Every day people are dying, yeah, for hunger and starvation, lamentation, read it in Revelation. You'll find your redemption. It might give us the teachings of His Majesty, 'cause we don't want the devil's philosophy. Give us the teachings of His Majesty, 'cause we don't want the devil's philosophy. And feel it in a one drop, and we still find time to rock. You're making a one stop, oh, a generation gap, so feel the drum beat, as a beat within, playing a rhythm, oh, fighting against ism and schism, singing, I know, just never let us down when we're right from wrong. Yes, I know, just never let us down. Oh no, 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 no. They made their world so hard. Every day, every day. They made their world so hard. Every day, and all day, 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 all day, day, day. Day all day, yeah, day, day, day all day, yeah, all day. All right. I felt alive singing that one. All right. I am so grateful I got me a helper here. I don't know how long he's going to be here to stay, but I'm hoping that this will be a tradition with me and this young guy here. Let me tell you, this guy is intelligent. He did all his homework in less than an hour. This kid is smart. I am just so honored and blessed to have him in my life. Let me tell you something. Yes. Anyways, I'm not going to put him on the screen because I'd rather leave that up to him for when he wants to be. But I certainly will give him praise today because I am grateful that he is in my life at this moment, especially because, sorry, I'm trying to get this right. I just feel like I have found culture. Feel like I found culture separate from what I've learned from American ways because, I come from the hood, so, my mom, not to talk about her, but, she had afflictions with drugs, a lot of depression, a lot of that stuff in my family, a lot of those intergenerational curses from slavery and from the Middle Passage, and, my family suffered generation after generation after generation. They suffered from the Middle Passage, through slavery, through the laws of Jim Crow, through all oppression and all that stuff, I remember my grandmother, she was obese and she was depressed, she pretty much ate herself to death, and I hate to say it that way, but she was really depressed, and they were Jehovah's Witnesses. They believed in God, they believed in the Father. Their way of worshiping was as Jehovah's Witness. So so it's not that she didn't have God in her life, she was depressed. And I believe that the intergenerational trauma of slavery is real. A lot of our people suffered, and a lot of them are still suffering. A lot of African Americans are suffering from that. And I think a lot of white folks are suffering too because they have been lied to as well. But nonetheless, this is not about that. Today, this is going to be about reading of the Haile Selassie version of the Holy Bible. Amen. So we're now at Genesis chapter 7. I did want to say something about, last we read Genesis chapter 5, and Genesis chapter 5 gave the generations of Adam. But you know what I noticed, and I'm a woman, and I have to say it. It says the generation of Adam. It doesn't say the generation of Adam and Eve. But Eve is such a major figure, and I don't want to say figure as if this is mythology, but Eve is a major person in how sin entered this world. And I was just wondering, I was just thinking about that, because when God created Adam, he created Eve from Adam. You get it? So Adam came first, and God gave Adam those laws and the rules, and he established his covenant with him. I'm still reading more about that, more understanding more of the Adamic, I think they call it, covenant. But nonetheless, when we read in Genesis chapter 2, God had made Adam out of dust, and he breathed life into him. And then he told him not to eat of the tree of knowledge, had him name all of the different animals and whatnot. And then he saw that there was no mate for him. So God put him into a deep sleep, and he pulled from out of his side. And from out of his side, he created the woman. So, and then we go and get to Genesis chapter 3. And it says that the serpent went to the woman. She didn't go straight to Adam. The serpent knew who to go to. And he somehow coerced the woman to choose to eat of the fruit, and then she in turn must have persuaded Adam to. I just don't think that she went and she said, "Here, Adam, eat this fruit," and Adam is like, "Yeah, well, it's not." I'm sure there was something else going on there, but it does make me wonder, why would Eve choose to listen to the serpent? Now, I know what a serpent looked like nowadays. I'm sure a serpent looked like the same then. Was this serpent coming to visit her some other time? I'm just wondering what made that woman decide to go against her husband's rule, because I'm sure Adam told her that God said not to eat of that tree, and she still went ahead and she ate of that tree. So after being told by the serpent. So I wonder about that. And then that was another thing too that had me wondering, as we had read yesterday, Genesis chapter 6. Chapter 6 yesterday had talked about how the sons of God saw the daughters of men and that they were fair. The sons of God and the daughter of men. Somebody had responded to one of my posts, and they was talking about there's something that they said, and I wish I remember their name, but there was something that they said that had me think, like, maybe the sons of God are man, because, not man meaning humans, man meaning the male, because God made the man. God made the man out of dust, and God breathed into the man, right? So that made him the son of God. And the woman God made from the man. God pulled the man's side out of the woman. God pulled the side out of the man, and out of that, he formed the woman. And so maybe that's why they say that that's daughters of man. So it just had me wondering, what was going on there, and then reading the different theologies of what people believe what's going on there. But I really do think that that's it, because Jesus is considered the son of God, and then later on we read all of us are considered the sons and the daughters of God. However, in the beginning, when God made Adam, Adam was made out of dust, and God breathed life into him, and that made him to be the son of God in his image. And so he put him to sleep, had him go into a deep sleep, and pulled out of his side, and out of that he made the woman. So that makes sense that now that woman would be the daughter of man. So I'm thinking that's what's going on here. Of course, there are more books to read. There's the book of Enoch. There's other books, the Ethiopian Bible. I believe they have more going on about the story of Adam. So I have to do more reading and to get back to that. But I just kind of wanted to touch on that before I went and moved on into Genesis chapter 7, which we are about to read right now. So again, as I'll show you, this is the Haile Selassie version of the Holy Bible. And Rastafari Holy Bible, King Selassie version, KSV, containing the original and New Testament, plus the books of Enoch, Jubilees, and the Kibra Nagast excerpt. We in Ethiopia have one of the oldest versions of the Bible, but however old the version may be, in whatever language it might be written, the word remains one and the same. It transcends all boundaries of empires and all conceptions of race. It is eternal, and that was said by His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I the First. All right. So let's get right on to Genesis chapter 7. Okay. So, again, we have read in Genesis chapter 6 that God had, the world was full of violence. God had said, I'm done with these folks. I'm going to get rid of them. However, there was one person amongst all these other people who God saw and God found grace, and that was through Noah. Noah was the only one of all humans who was following God's covenant and God's ways, and he wasn't wicked. So let's continue to read about what happened after God had told him to make this ark and for him to put in all the different animals, clean animals and unclean animals and whatnot. Okay, and so, Genesis 7. And Jah said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, For thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female. And of beasts that are not clean, by two, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. And Noah did according unto all that Jah commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him, into the ark, because of the waters of the flood. Of clean beasts, and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls, and of everything that creepeth upon the earth. There went in two and two unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And the selfsame day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them, into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they that went in, male and female, of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and Jah shut him in. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased, and bare up the ark, and it was lift up above the earth. And the waters prevailed, and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters, and the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail. Oh, I read that part. 21. And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle, and of beasts, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man. All in whose nostril was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land, died. And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heavens, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Wow, that's some pretty concise stuff here about how long the waters lasted, how high the waters went, who was in the ark, the beasts that were in the ark, everything that was in there, and who died. Everyone died. No one was left. So Adam and Eve populated the world. Cain murdered Abel because he was jealous of the sacrifice that God accepted of Abel's, and he rejected Cain's. Well, he didn't reject it. He didn't respect it. Because I believe Cain's heart wasn't in the right place. Cain didn't want to give God the best. Cain wanted to keep the best for himself. And I don't even think God wanted the best. I think God just wants what's from your heart. And if the best is what you want to give God from your heart, then you're going to want to give him the best. So, but nonetheless, the angels or the giants that were in the land, because in Genesis chapter, I think 4, it talks about, or chapter 6, it talks about there being giants in the earth. All living things died after the flood. And the only one that was spared was Noah and Noah's children. So God didn't even look at Noah's children. I wonder if God saw the grace that Noah had, and God spared him, his wife, and his children for them to repopulate the earth. Amen. So we'll get to read more and see what more revelation God has. Hey, listen, I want you to comment, right? Because one thing we must understand is that how the devil got to Eve was that she was alone. You know, we weren't there in the Garden of Eden, so I don't know what God had them do or had them not do, you know, and I'm sure other books will help to tie in. More reading will help to tie in what went on in Genesis as we hear more revelation from other folks who God revealed himself. But nonetheless, we can't do this alone. This is a we thing. God saw Adam and that he needed a mate. So we are not to be alone. We are to be in communion and in community with one another. And so I want to hear what you have to say. What are your thoughts about this flood? Do you believe that the flood happened? I want to hear all of it. And also about what I had said about the sons of God and the daughters of man. What are your thoughts? And the thoughts about how the serpent went to the woman because, you know, it was easier for him to entice the woman perhaps than for him to go right to the man. So I want to hear all of y'all, you know, what you think about what I said. And let's have a real discourse, because we no longer have to rely on the Western philosophy. Remember, the Protestant, the King James Version of the Bible, and a lot of those other Bibles, unless they're coming from the Septuagint, a lot of that stuff is coming from Western theology. And a lot of Western theology is grounded in Greek mythology. And a lot of that is because Rome was large and in charge over a lot, and they did a lot of colonizing, a lot of ruling, a lot of stuff happened with Rome. I mean, even of the very holidays that we celebrate, New Year's Day, Rome changed that to be January 1st, right? So a lot of the ways of Rome we practice today in current Christian ways. And so there is an Eastern theology. If you want to go ahead and you want to learn for your own, look up Ethiopia. Remember, Ethiopia was not colonized. So we can trust that a lot of what Ethiopia has to say perhaps hasn't been whitewashed. Perhaps their books haven't been, because they have a total of almost 90 books. And the King James Version of the Bible, I believe, only has less than 70. So then remember, they had contorted the Bible to fit their beliefs. So if you're going around murdering and killing black people for their land and for their wealth, well, you got to have something where you can easily repent yourself. And so that's why in Western theology, the commandments of God, we don't even talk about those commandments of God. We call the commandments of God the law, and we say that God abolished the law. But No, Jesus did not say he came to abolish the law. He said he came to fulfill it. He came to fulfill the law. We are to still honor the law. We are still to honor the covenants of God as well. And that's what has been lost from Western theology. There's been so much philosophizing done. I mean, they have all these big schools and all this stuff. And yes, it is excellent to study God. But we have to make sure that while studying God, we are not creating our own version of God. God is still God, no matter what we think or no matter what we surmise. God is still God, because in the beginning, it was God. In the beginning, it was Him. He was the only one there, not us. And so it shall be in the end. God bless. And yeah, God bless. Until next time.